Egle will tell you more. And also if project management is surviving, the future of project management also in Danske Bank. But quickly moving into then what did we actually do? Why did we embark on this journey? And no surprise, this is all about the customers, the employees, and also for efficiency and risk. This is why we embarked on the journey. We wanted better and faster solutions. We want to increase the customer satisfaction. We want less bureaucracy and wanted to become even more engaging and have autonomy in the teams and in the tribes. And for efficiency and risk, we really want to achieve also less manual work, less manual processes, and we want to lower the risk of having that. And that is the outset of the transformation. That's why we embarked on this journey. And to set it all up, we put these 3 integrated streams in place: the way of working redesign, the customer journey acceleration, and IT industrialization. That has been our foundation. Those are the streams we've been working in to actually deliver better ways of working, our term, in Danske Bank, and embark on this journey. And you did refer to it as the Palace Revolution. I think banks, Danske Bank also, has historically been a very traditional and fairly hierarchical bank. We are changing this fundamentally. And with a large impact actually of 5,000 people, a quarter or a fourth of all of the employees in Danske Bank, spanning across a lot of locations. And to start out on the journey, this is where we started and where we are. So very briefly, it's no longer than a year and a half or a year and 10 months since we actually started on the journey. We set up the 3 working streams I just told you about, and we started preparing for a proof of concept. Will this work? What does Agile look like? And remember, this is going Agile at enterprise level, scaled Agile, not Agile in pockets, not doing Scrum in squads here and there. We want to go all the way, and we started in January 2020. We did the proof of concept. We went live with that in July in 2020. And then from there, with all the learnings we took, we immediately followed through with the entire organization in January 2021, just 1 year after beginning this entire journey. After we set up the structures, the organization, everything, we also started to testing out the governance, all the other parts that really makes this become Agile at scale. And we succeeded, and one of the great milestones of that was to actually then have a minimum viable operating model implemented. And we did this this summer in 2021. We are trying out a lot of things still. We are now running some of the governance processes. We are smack in the middle of it right now, prioritizing for next year. And we will keep working with this Agile operating model, maturing it, learning from it, developing it over the coming year or 2 to make sure we actually achieve everything we set out to. And structure doesn't do it alone. Redesign, reorganization. We've done a lot of that, all of us, I think, and that's just part of it. We also need to look at all the other building blocks of the operating model, and this is ours. This is our Agile house, and this is what it takes. So it's several components. Apart from the structure, it's the governance, it's the culture, it's the employee strategy. It's everything top to bottom and across the organization that truly makes this work and need to work together, mingle it all together to actually achieve something. But for the structure purposes, that is where we set out, that is where we started, and we did the redesign across our organization. We went from the very classical, again, we had business development in the business units. We had IT as a centralized group, IT. We did have a lot of a touch point with experts all around the organization. And we wanted to succeed with having less coordination, less handovers. We wanted to make sure the development team actually are the ones also speaking to the frontline, speaking to the customers, getting the input directly. So we reorganized. We turned into a tribe structure, a tribe model, where we took all the people that makes a full development team into one squad and make sure we don't need all of the processes and handovers needed to actually discuss what development activities need to go on. And the way that looks is from one side to the other, starting with the old school or old structure, going to the new in the tribe setup, and the tribe now is structured like this. So it's the tribe consisting on a set of squads that has the end-to-end ownership of their products, their services, and delivering in that model, working in their squads. We have chapters cutting across, also realizing it's super important to have also the specialties and the skills, the right set of skills and the right people to keep learning and developing with. So those parts constitute the tribes. And then on the outside of that, we have center of excellences, scarce resources that tribes use and borrow to make sure they deliver on also with that expertise. And then cutting across everything, we have segment teams to make sure we are always on the right path. We know where we want to go and who help us develop our strategy. That is truly the setup that we are now running from a structural point of view. Then the governance block and how we're then going to do this. So building the empowered teams, that was one. We remove the need for coordination, we think, and we hope with having end-to-end teams. But we want to ensure also the autonomy and that we contribute to a joint mission. And we do that with governance. It's the strategic guidance that we give top down, but we leave the formulation of the how and the when to the tribes, to the development teams. And the governance, it provides processes to secure the alignment and the impediment resolution across, and it measures, it provides a measurement framework also to create the transparency needed for each other, but also to know that we're actually moving in the right direction, that we are achieving what we set out to. You can say we start with the annual strategy, which feeds into our annual business review. It's where we prioritize high-level work on a yearly, at a yearly scale, but it's simply doing an assessment and estimate of what we think, what effort of work is required. We stack rank all of our themes that we will be working on according to the strategy, and we figure out what capacity that requires and align that capacity at the same time, so that we know we're actually able to deliver on our high-level priorities. But we leave the planning to the tribes. That happens in the quarterly business review. They do it continuously and with a view of a quarter, with a roadmap of a quarter, not to over-plan, over-engineer, but actually allow the experience, the learning, and the development of the initiative in a quarterly basis. Squads take that work in, they do sprints, they run in iterations, and they do that on a bi-weekly basis. And that is how we sort of connect from strategy all the way down to the lowest possible chunk of work for the individual squad members, so they know exactly what they're delivering on and for which purpose. We don't work on anything that's not directly linked to our strategy, and we do everything for a reason. And that is truly a benefit in this entire setup. And perhaps just touching a bit on the way we organize our work, this is the backbone. And we call it the ties structure. And I'm touching on it because I also think, Egle, you will touch a bit on it in your view of the world as well, right? So this has been groundbreaking to us to structure our work in this way for a number of reasons. It's more simple. We know what we're working on and why, and we have an idea of size and also the planning cycle for each of the activities or levels of the work. Themes are something we prioritize in the yearly cycle. We have an overview of what outcomes we wish to achieve and what we are going, what direction we are setting, and high-level estimate of what effort is required. We break it into initiatives, understanding in more detail what is it that we need to do. That is what we run with in our quarterly business reviews and put into our roadmaps on a continuous basis. They will last for 3 to 9 months, and we know that we are delivering and that we are outcome focused in having this eye of sight. Squads break that further down into the epics. Epics can last 3 months, so epics are delivered within a quarter, again seeing the progress, knowing that this is the piece of work actually contributing to our initiatives and the themes, and further breaking that into stories in the sprints. So every little unit of work gives us something, brings an output that turns into an outcome. That is truly how we set it up. And this was a lot about the how and the what we've done. 1.5 years went really fast, super fast actually. It's only been 10 months since we've gone live, and some of it can still be theory. We are still learning, we are still practicing out there, but we are also starting to see some of the benefits from all of this madness, you can say, and everything that we've been through. We have become more efficient in our planning and in our prioritizing. We do generate benefits for us and for the customers. And the great benefit we really see right now is on the transparency we are creating across the organization, and actually also see some throughput improving here. So these are truly exciting times to be in our agile development organization working like this. And I think it's also kind of exciting to all of the employees being parts of the tribes, having this view, working in iterations.
Yes, and that's
all for you, Egle.
Yes, so Sophie, thanks a lot. And as Sophie was mentioning, so we are on a journey, and during this journey, and before actually the journey started, we have received a lot of questions. So what about project management? So what about project managers? Yeah, because long-standing belief is that project managers are no longer required when we talk agile. And I would say that not quite. Yeah, because there are different circumstances, and we have different situations where we need to be flexible in different ways. And let's explore where project managers fit into the whole picture when we work agile. And we will do that through Danske Bank example as well. So as Sophie has mentioned, only part of our bank was primary and directly impacted by the agile transformation. We done agile transformation for the part of the bank that was most fit for that, and where agile would bring the highest benefits. But as financial institution, as regulated institution, we still have a blended hybrid setup where we combine best of both worlds. Yes, we have agile where it makes sense, but we still have a non-agile traditional areas of the bank that operate in a more controlled way. Yes, and as Sophie mentioned, in the agile better ways of working setup, we have tribes and we have centers of excellences. And then in non-agile part, we have areas like compliance, legal, HR, service organizations, and etc. Yeah, so we have that combination, but of course, these two areas, they are not working in two different silos. So you see in the middle that we have the hybrid initiatives, yes, where it's a joint venture between the tribes and non-agile setups. So if we dive into a little bit more detailed view, the cadence that Sophie has just gone through, where we have themes, initiatives, epics. If we would like to do a comparison, we could say that, you know, theme is something similar to a program. An initiative would be kind of size-wise similar to a project. And on the non-agile side, we have program and project managers that are running projects and are running programs still. And then we have on the agile side, we have project management role that is distributed across different roles we have in agile. Yes, it's tribe leads, product owners, chapter leads, squad members. And I will not talk now about the theme integrator. I'll come back to this one pretty soon. But we see that actually, as I said, it's not that simple. We cannot just do the agile in a jar and then have programs and projects running somewhere else in the organization. So we have a boom of so-called hybrid or transversal themes that are a combination of agile and sometimes waterfall. And it's not that, like, you know, one methodology or one model fits all situations. Yes, we have purely agile themes that are run mainly by tribes, and then we have transversal that kind of have a really fit for the purpose blended approach that is applied to drive the change and achieve the objective. So so what is theme integration? Yes, that's a new buzzword in the company. It's not only for tribes, but as well for all the areas outside agile setup. it's a fairly new role that we have right now that was introduced together with Agile, and it's called Theme Integrator. So it's I don't want to say that it's a type of Agile program manager because it's not truly a program manager, because Theme Integrator is a person who drives delivery of a theme and keeps track of a progress, communicates progress, coordinates implementation, but actually it's quite different from a program manager as we used to have in a classical programs. Yeah, so theme integrator orchestrates instead of controls the change. That person ensures that we are moving at the right pace to achieve our objectives, but actually it's not a single man orchestra, because tribes, they are actually owning success of delivery. Yes, because as Sophie was mentioning, they are empowered and they are owning exactly what they are delivering, yes, for the bank. So that is kind of a very new role, and it requires a shift in a culture and shift in a mindset, because we're very much used that that's one person who is owning end to end and having the full responsibility of the results and the outcomes. Yeah, so it's quite a transition. But as you remember, I mentioned that we still have program and project managers and theme integrators. They are one type of change agents that we have right now in the bank. And on the screen, you can see that governance solution actually varies depending on development and implementation scope. So it's quite a busy slide, but I'll just try to simply explain that where we don't have development, yes, because tribes, they are where we have development of new products, new solutions. So where we don't have development, yes, for example, we have process improvements, we have introduction of some services, we will not require a theme integrator. It will be a local team lead, it will be a program manager who will be owning and driving the change, no matter how big it is. But when it comes to development, yes, where we have tribes involved and the high complexity, large scope, we start to introduce theme integrators. Yes, we have two types of theme integrators. We have assigned theme integrator that has a day job, as we say. He or she can be a product owner, a tribe lead, and at the same time, that person is owning specific change orchestration. And when we go to really, really complex situations where we have multiple tribes, multiple domains, and we have group-wide scope, we have a dedicated theme integrator. So it's a person, a change agent that is delivering that change and orchestrating the change dedicatedly for that specific initiative. So that's how it looks. And if we try to think and contemplate how the future project management looks like and whether the project management is bright, I would like to emphasize that our reality is that banks is an ever-changing flux of events. Yes, we are in a very complex setups, and what works very well when we design things and we hope, that we can be fully autonomous and we can be fully self-running, in tribes and squads, actually take into account that complexity of initiative, complexity of regulations that are being introduced for the banking area is really, really getting more and more complex every year. And so where we have super complex setups, where we have large initiatives, we will not get rid of that change agent, greater project, we will, who actually will be ahead of all areas, all teams working on that change and helping to orchestrate, helping to put things together so that we are achieving the objectives. And as I mentioned before, there will never be a fit-all solution. Yes, we need to take into account complexity, context, requirements into account, and then select the best fitting approach. Yes, if it's completely agile, yes, probably we will not need a classical project manager because that will be distributed in a different ways. If we have a really, really heavy regulatory delivery, if we have something very time constrained, probably we will look to have some kind of a blended approach with more traditional methodologies and putting the right control in place. So summarizing, I would say that in Danske Bank, we probably see three major trends that, of course, in the future, we would look more to a value-adding project manager, a value-adding change agent who is an SME in some way to help and orchestrate theme or program or project in the right way and getting all the benefits of that specific domain. The second trend, of course, is hybrid. It's a new black. We are in a banking, in a financial industry where we need to have the right balance of flexibility and control. Yeah, so we will need to work out what is the best approach for each individual situation. And then trend three, last but not least, as complexity is increasing, we of course will see more integrator type of work where we need to orchestrate things across different environments, across different landscapes to achieve our objectives. So yes, so I'm just trying to run pretty fast as we would like to leave some time for questions as well. But all in all, I would say that future of project management is still bright, though we are embarking on agile journey, because we should look to project management more like to a skill set, not a title anymore, because it's no big difference, as I mentioned, how we call that change agent, theme integrator, project manager, or anything in between. The fact is that these skill sets, being able to introduce changes in a controlled and structured way, is still on high demand. And of course, we will see more transversal, more agile themes versus traditional projects. And that's natural project management, as everything needs to adapt to fast pace of our environment, of our world and changes. And we will still, of course, continue to combine the waterfall, as I mentioned. Yes, we will need to have still some control over really complex and large initiatives. And I think in the future, we'll see more and more that success is becoming a shared effort rather than being put in the hands of a single person. So the emphasis will be shifting from a single initiative, single project, single program, to more kind of integrated, large-scale, complex initiatives that will be driven across multiple domains. So that's more or less how the future looks like and how the project management area fit in. So in the beginning, we were saying whether we are in a fight or in a partnership. So I can reassure that we are in a partnership and we are working out as well how we best could blend in and have the best results using the different methodologies in the right way where it makes the most sense. So if you would like to learn more about how we work together, you can always reach out to Sophie or me. And I hope we still have some time for questions in the audience that we can pick up right now.